All right, guys, with a big win over Josh Emmett in the main event of UFC Vegas 105, his 9th UFC win in a row. This man is undefeated, and all roads are leading to an eventual UFC title shot against Alex Volkanovski. But the big question now is, who's next? Let's find out. For the first time ever on Submission Radio, Lerone Murphy is on the program, kind enough to join me. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So listen, I got to ask you, it's been pretty crazy, right? In your division, there's been so much going on. I got to ask, first things first, what do you think of Alex Volkanovski being the reigning champion in your division once again?
Listen, he's a legend, and there's no mistake to how he's got there again. He's a legend. Obviously, he got beat by Ilia Topuria, who's another great fighter. But yeah, man, Volkanovski is a great champion, and I'd love to fight him one day just to test myself.
You know, Topuria, he didn't really stay in your division for long. How do you reckon that rematch would have gone between Ilia and Alex Volkanovski if they had another crack at it?
I don't know. I just think Ilia might have his number right now. Just because Ilya's like in his prime years now. He's on fire. You've seen what he done to Holloway as well. I just think I think he's unstoppable at the minute.
What do you think about him going to 155, right? Like, he's fighting Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. It was supposed to be Islam. What do you think of him going up and trying to have a crack at the 155 belt?
Everybody wants to be great in it, so fair play to him. But I do think he's going to be a bit undersized. But if you've got the skills like he has, he's got a good chance against anybody. So I would think he's going to do well there. But I think against guys like Makhachev, who's really a real lightweight and could fight at welterweight, I think when it's skill for skill, the skills are matched. I think the weight difference and height comes into it. So I believe Makhachev might be a difficult matchup for him. But yeah, I think he'll do well up there still.
What do you think of Charles Oliveira? Do you think he'll beat Charles?
Do you know what's funny? I just seen like a clip of Charles Oliveira. I think it's against Gaethje. I think Toporia's going to knock him out early. You know, to be honest, I think Charles is a great fighter, but he gets hit too much, and Toporia's got good power. I think Toporia's going to come underneath Oliveira's shots and just come over the top and knock him out. I seen a clip of Gaethje hitting him a few times, dropped him a few times, and I was just thinking, if that's Topuria, it's game over.
You know, it's funny how you say he's a bit small for someone like Islam. What do you think of people saying, hey, this could be the first guy to do the 3-division title, right? Like, beat Charles, Islam beats JDM. If that happens,
Yeah.
you could see a scenario where both of those guys fight at welterweight, right? And maybe for a third title even for Ilia.
That'd be crazy, and if he does that, then he goes down as one of the greatest, well, the greatest of all time. Because I don't think anybody can do that. But if he does that and he's so small and he beats a guy at welterweight, like, you have to say his skill set is elite. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Hey, speaking of the greatest of all time, who is your featherweight GOAT? Like, who do you think is the greatest featherweight of all time at the moment? Because a lot of people say Aldo, and then you got Volkanovski. You got the Aldo and the Volkanovski kind of.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say. You know, it's really hard to say because there was both at different times, and I think Volkanovski's beat better competition than Aldo. But obviously, Aldo's just the people's champion, and it's just like he was champion for 10 years, but the competition levels is different now. So I'd say Volkanovski, you know, now I'm thinking about it, I'd say Volkanovski.
So we thought it was going to be Volkanovski and Movsar, right? That's the fight that most people thought was going to happen. Ali Abdelaziz, Movsar's manager, he was on the show just, a few days ago, told me that it looks like Movsar is going to have to fight one more time before he gets a title shot. What would your reaction be if this is true, man? Like, Movsar not getting the shot? Like, did you think he was the next guy for Alex?
Yeah, of course. But do you know what? It's not even of course. This is a performance-based company, and it's just like, even myself, like, I think if I would have went out there and finished Josh Emmett, I could have got a title shot. So you have to get the fans speaking and get the fans wanting you to fight, because obviously it's all about money, right? This is a business, and if the fans want to see it, they're going to pay to see it, right? So if the fans don't want to see Volkanovski versus Movsar, they're not going to pay to see it. Whereas the company's not going to put it on. But who else is there? There's no who else is there? If there's not
Well, they're
Movsar,
going to Mexico, right? So the theory is, and this is crazy, Yair Rodriguez. Surely not, right? Like, what would your reaction be if that's the fight?
that would be terrible for the division, for the sport, because realistically, and not to say Jair's not a good fighter, but he's lost about three or four title shots, and he's only had one win in three fights, and it was against a guy that's unranked, so it wouldn't make sense. Personally, me being in the division, I would want the shot, yeah, but
Of course.
I'll probably need one more as well. But I wouldn't be against Movsar getting the shot. I believe out of everybody, if anybody's going to get the shot, it'll be Movsar or myself. So it's like we're the both undefeated fighters, fresh fighters, never challenged for the title, never fought Volkanovski, and yeah, it's a new fight, so you can't put Yair back in there.
It's insane because you know how you mentioned the whole Yair thing. Not only that, but he actually fought Alex Volkanovski not too long ago, and he got absolutely dominated
Yes, it's
in
not.
every area. You
It
know?
wasn't close. It wasn't close. So it's like, why
Yeah.
we want to see that fight again? What's really going to change? Nothing's going to change in that fight.
I got to also ask you, man. What was your reaction about John Silva trying to go for this title shot after his win over Bryce Mitchell? He was trying to campaign for it for a little bit as well.
I get it. Everybody's going to campaign, right? Because it's a life-changing fight. Whoever gets the fight, it's going to change their life. And I think it's a good time to fight for the title now. So I'm not against anybody calling for the shot, but realistically, he's only had one fight in the top 15 against Bryce Mitchell, who again has probably lost about three of his last four or two of his last three or whatever. So it doesn't really warrant a title shot, but he is on fire right now. The whole division's on fire right now. There's a lot of matchups to make, but he has to beat somebody in the top 10 first at least.
I know you were watching the footage between Gaethje and Charles, so you must break down a lot of footage. What do you think when you see John Silva and the footage that you've seen from him so far? Like, is this a guy that you think it could be a future contender, could be someone who you could potentially be, defending your belt against if you win the title? Or do you still want to see a bit more from him before you make up your mind?
I think he's an excellent fighter, solid fighter, and he's very relaxed in there, which makes him perform. He's tough and he's unorthodox as well. But is he ready for a title shot? I don't think so. I think he will be a title contender in the future for sure. But I want to see him against another top contender, another top 10 guy. I don't think the UFC are going to put him straight in, but he'll get there eventually, and maybe I'll defend my title against him one day.
One more guy in the division I want to get your thoughts on is Aaron Pico. He's now signed to your division as well. He was on my show, not too long ago. He wants to be thrown in the mix as well. What do we do with Aaron Pico then? Like, what are we doing with these guys, man? What are we doing, Lorne? What are we going to do with these guys?
To be honest, I've not watched much of Pico. I've seen a few of his highlights, obviously, because everyone was posting them. But yeah, another guy that's he was high up there in the Bellator rankings. So yeah, give all these guys. Well, Pico, I think he should fight someone like Sterling, maybe at Ige of the division. Work the way up. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's some excellent fights, and I'm looking forward to fighting all of these guys.
Okay, so after your win, you had an excellent dominating win over Josh Emmett. You called out Brian Ortega. I saw in the post-fight press conference, kind of like you respectfully wanted to fight him next. Is that
Yeah.
still the guy that you want? Like, because there's some fun matchups. Like, I know, like we were just talking about John Silva and the fact that he's unproven, but technically, like in terms of entertainment, he's one of the most spoken about guys in the division. Maybe is he maybe someone you'd like? Like, who ideally would you want? Like, there's Movsar, you beat him, boom, no more debate that you deserve the title. Like, what do you think is the next best fight for you if you could choose?
For me, it's anybody who's going to get me to the title shot. So for me, I called out Ortega because I seen that um what's his name? Lopes fought him and then fought for the title straight after. We've both got wins over Ige as well. So I'm just looking at the path to the title, really. I'm not calling it out anybody for personal reasons, but for me, I need to be fighting somebody in the top 10. I'm 16-0 now. I've beat three guys in the top 15, three people in the top 15. Like I
Mhm.
have to fight for the top. I can fight for the title now, or I can fight for the number one contender spot. If the UK, if the UFC contact me and say to me, fight this person. If you win, you can get a title shot. I'll fight anybody. I don't care. But realistically, and I need to be fighting somebody in the top five, really. So I need to be fighting up.
What about Diego Lopez? That's not a bad fight right there. How would you like Diego Lopez potentially to be your next fight? Is that someone you'd be interested in?
I'm like I said, I'm interested in any of these guys. Whatever's going to get me to the title, I'm interested in. And Diego's another great matchup. I think that'll be a great fight stylistically. It'll be a great scrap for the fans, and yeah, it'll put me in title contention, getting a win.
So by the time you fight for the title, what do you think? Do you think Alex Volkanovski will still be the champion? Do you see him as a long-time defending champion who's going to be there by the time you fight for the belt?
It depends who he fights.
Who do you see
I,
as the most dangerous matchup for him outside of yourself,
I
obviously?
think yeah, I think I'm the most dangerous matchup for him, obviously. And other than that, I really can't see nobody. I think he beats Movsar over 5 rounds for sure. I think he's too smart. I don't think Movsar's going to be able to take him down that easily. If he does, Volkanovski will scramble up and tire him out. I'm a 5 round fighter. I can push the pace for 5 rounds easily, and I think that's what will give Volkanovski difficulties. I can't see anybody else right now challenging him in that top five, top six anyway.
Hmm. All right. So what's the UFC saying to you right now, man? You look like you're ready to go. What are we doing here? We've got people in the divisions, big names. What are we doing here? What are they doing with you? Have they given you
Bro,
anything, any timeline, anything?
bro, I don't have a clue what's going on now. And that's the only thing about once you get into like the top 10, there's a lot of moving pieces, right? This person's got to be ready. They have a roadmap for everybody. Obviously, they don't show us, but they have a roadmap. So things have got to click into place. I've been asking for a fight now for over the last month anyway, so I've not heard anything back. But it'd be nice to get a date and a name, so I can work towards something. And
Hmm.
yeah, start getting ready, man.
Cool. Ideally, timeline. When do you think you could be back in there?
Yeah, well, I was hoping to fight on the Abu Dhabi card in July, but I don't
Right,
think
right.
that would have been a great time. I don't think they're going to do that now because it's getting closer. Maybe it's going to be August time. August, the end of July will work for me.
August. That's not bad. That's DDP and Hamza. That's not a bad card to be on. And then
Where is that?
obviously, well, that's going to be in Chicago, I believe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I come out on my Instagram the other day and I said, mate, I just want to fight in these pay-per-view cards, me. They're the best atmosphere. They're the ones that I remember vividly in my memories. And yeah, I just want to make good memories. So fighting on the pay-per-view cards in front of a crowd, great atmosphere, big fights. That's what I want right now.
Mm. As we wrap up, man, I just want to get your thoughts, right? Like you had this dominating win over Josh Emmett. And then I saw there was like, did you see there was like a little bit of pushback from some fans about you were so dominant, but for some reason it's like they almost took away from your performance in some kind
Yeah.
of capacity. What was your reaction to that? Like, I
Oh,
mean, you went out there and you did your job, right? So it's kind of it's a weird one to balance, right? Especially now you're in this top 10 and it's this kind of
bro.
crazy, you know.
Like, do you know what? One thing I've learned is like you can never please all the fans in it. You can never please them all because what they were saying before this fight was, oh, I get hit too much, I get dropped. Josh Emmett's gonna knock me out. So when I put on a defensive clinic against Josh Emmett and he can't even hit me, and I pick him apart, they then say, "Oh, I'm boring. I don't push the pace, bro." I can't ever make him happy. And then I put on a war against Edson Barboza for 5 rounds. And like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm never gonna make these fans happy. So I'll fight for myself. But obviously I do understand that I need to be finishing fights, but it's not that easy at this top level. But I will be pushing for that, especially in the for a championship belt. That's my dream. Get a finish in that, and that'll propel my career massively.
How do you deal with that kind of feedback, right? Because you're in the spotlight now. Before you were working your way up. Now you're coming off this main event. Did it take a little bit of time for you to? Because I would have been like, oh fuck everyone, like, you know what I mean? But like, did it take you a while to be like, all right, like I kind of understand it, especially after, like you mentioned, you put on such a clinic.
Do you know what? Sometimes my ego gets to me, and I get involved with the trolls, and I give it them back. But it's obviously not the right thing to do, because, like you said, the trolls. Most of these guys are on fake accounts. They're not even themselves. They're miserable in the house on the computer watching fighters, wishing they could get into the cage. So who am I to go back at these guys that have got nothing but negatives to say about all fighters? So it is what it is. I don't take it personal. The true MMA fans love what I do. They love my style, and I'm going to keep performing and keep winning. That's it.
Awesome, dude. All right, man. Well, look, let's get out there. Let's get you locked into a fight. You have to be fighting. Hopefully, August, DDP comes out in Chicago,
Yeah.
UFC 319. But apart from that, man, thank you so much for joining me, dude. I'm really excited to see what's next for you. And hey, first time on Submission Radio. We did it.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure, and great chat as well. Thank you.